China's role as the world's factory is being threatened by rising labor costs. Low-income factory workers started demanding higher wages, which increased costs. There was a reluctance to hire workers with higher salaries, but demand was still high enough that they did. China's youth also started to show a lack of interest in factory jobs, despite high unemployment figures. This created a larger demand for labor. In certain times of the year, like Chinese New Year, demand for workers gets even bigger. Most Chinese migrant workers would rather quit their jobs so they can go home for the holidays. They might be offered triple their salaries, but still decline it. If factory owners don't offer higher wages, then they'll need to shut down the whole operation. This could lead to bankruptcy. But there seems to be a way out. They can hire scabs. They want to hire migrant workers from other countries. According to a Chinese business magazine, due to China's better economy, many Vietnamese laborers would like to head north for work. Since the Chinese government does not allow foreigners to do physical labor jobs in China, this makes things complicated. The workers are working illegally, but the demand is high. These workers have to sneak across the border to find job opportunities. There's a 600-mile border between China and Vietnam, which is difficult for law enforcement to guard. There are thousands of pathways that Vietnamese workers use for crossing the border. There are certain meeting points which are used for legal trading of goods. These meeting points are where agencies pick up the workers and transport them to jobs. But this isn't like the Mexico-U.S. border. There are no Minutemen that shoot laborers on sight. It is very possible that bribes and negotiations of terms are involved, but that's a far cry better than death. If these illegal workers get caught, then they're simply sent back. Factory owners appreciate the option of hiring Vietnamese workers. They would say things like, quote, "They work harder and are easier to manage compared to Chinese workers. These workers rarely demand a raise in their salaries. They continue to work during Chinese festivals, and they do it for less. They won't demand double payment or a day off. This is cheap and easy to exploit labor that powerful factory owners want." The biggest reason for this amicability is that they have super cheap salaries. A Vietnamese migrant worker can usually earn less than $100 per month in Vietnam. They can earn twice that much if they are employed in China. This doesn't just go for factory jobs either. If working as a nanny, their average monthly salary could reach $500. Apart from that, Chinese employees don't have to pay insurance. The super low cost of labor is appealing to Chinese companies, and the higher salaries are better for Vietnamese. Ms. Tong came from Vietnam. She has worked in China legally for 2 years. She said she earns a lot more than she would in her country.
My boss offered me $130 a month. However, I could only make less than $80 per month in my hometown.
Each year, there are over 10,000 Vietnamese people crossing the border to China looking for work. These Vietnamese workers are exploited as cheap laborers with lower salary standards. They will often be paid less than Chinese workers for the same job. So the money is good, the labor is cheap, and it's in high demand. What could be the problem? Well, it's still legal in China. Don't go away, because up next we'll continue to look at cheap Vietnamese labor. Stay tuned.